This is WoolTribe in the Wild. We're going to have a chat with Apollo Levine, Broadway star of MJ the Musical. Good morning, Apollo.
Good
How
morning.
are you?
I'm good. Just another morning, waking up to get ready for the day and for my shows tonight and everything. So, but I'm doing well.
Good. I'm so glad. It's great to see you and great to hang out with you. So for everybody who watches this, give everybody a little slice of who you are and what you do, and then I'd love to help people understand how you ended up doing the amazing job that you do.
Oh, okay. Of course, Apollo. My name is Apollo Levine. I am from Abbeville, Louisiana, and grew up kind of a lot of my life in South Bend, Indiana. So I have this whole Southern Midwest thing going on. Um, but yeah, I am an actor, singer, dancer, and right now I am currently in the Michael Jackson musical on Broadway here in New York City, where I live now. So yeah, that's been my life. My just about 20 years in the industry. This is my first Broadway show.
Wow.
But I started in the workshop. So I've been with the show since 2019 when we were just in a room trying to put it together. And so I've been performing the show. We're about to go into our fourth year. So I've been on the stage ever since the show went to Broadway, and we're at the Neil Simon Theater here in New York. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is a dream come true. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, that's a dream come true for so many people. They're like, "Oh my God, I want to go to Broadway." And it's incredible. So talk a little bit about how you ended up being where you are. And then also, I have to tell you, I read an article this morning that the theater kid persona is suddenly becoming a very, I don't know, like a popular thing.
It is.
Tell me about that. I read that in the New York Times, to be fair, and I was like, um, that's
You
interesting.
know, yeah, you know what? It's funny because I think with things like Ariana Grande and people that people also know as pop singers,
Hmm.
or other entertainers. A lot of people don't realize that they made their mark in theater first.
Yeah.
Now they've gotten these big names, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, like where did that person come from?" And they've done theater before they ever became the pop star or the movie star or all of that. And so now, to be a theater kid when we were growing up was like, oh, you're one of the, I hate to say it, but you're one of the geeks or you're one of the nerds or whatever. I was one of those people, I will say, when I was in high school, middle school, high school, because I played sports. I always tell people I was Glee before Glee ever came along because
Love that.
I was the show choir kid. I love singing and dancing. Um, and my teachers are the ones that asked my parents for me to be involved, and I'm so glad that they did. But I was a hardcore sports player. I played baseball, I ran track, I played football, I wrestled, all of those things. So by the time I got to high school, what I did was get a lot of my friends that were other sports players, athletes. We needed guys to lift and everything else. So they came to show choir and did the thing and then went off and cracked heads on the football field. Like that was, so like to me, it was never a thing. I was always like, oh no, you could do all of it. But for a lot of people, they were like, oh, that's the club where the geeks are, and now it's become like oh, you're a theater kid. Like it's like you're a thing now. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I was so I was thrilled, but also really surprised to read it this morning. And they did mention Ariana Grande, who is, as you know, a phenomenal freaking talent. Like
Um,
just, oh my
I cannot
gosh.
wait to Wicked.
Yeah, she's awesome. She just does all the things.
Yeah.
Well, so talk a little bit about when the I don't know, like the spark happened. When did you go, that's what I want to do? And how what was the path to getting there?
So I'm a preacher's kid. I've always been like singing in church, and I mean, since I can remember, I always laugh and I tell people probably the first place I went after my mom gave birth from the hospital was probably the church. They probably took me straight to church, and and that's kind of how I was. Like I spent a lot of my time at church, so I was always singing. And people don't understand. Church is kind of my first like look at. People are very dramatic in church. And so
Sure.
that always I always got a kick out of that. I was like, who can I look at? Who's gonna be running around the church? Who's gonna like the praise the Jesus, hallelujah, all of that. But around like 8 or 9, I think I was looking at Disney or some kid show, and I just remember pointing at the TV and was like, I want to do that. And my I would try to get my parents. I'm like, okay, well, I feel like that's Hollywood. I don't even know what Hollywood was, but I'm like, Hollywood, we have to go to California. Then my parents were like, we are not moving to California. Um, so when I was in fourth grade, I was in this special program, like this accelerated learning program,
Hmm.
and you either had to be in band or orchestra, but we also took choir class during the day. And I was outside playing at recess, and my music teacher called my parents. She called me in first, and then called my parents and said, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Levine. I would love if we can keep your son after school." I thought I was in trouble. She was
Uh-oh.
like, "I would love to keep him because fourth graders weren't supposed to be in show choir. You had to wait until you were in fifth grade." But I was
Okay.
in fourth grade, and she called my parents and was like, "I would love him to be in show choir." And then my parents said yes. After that, she would bring me in like on recess time and everything, and teach me the choreography because she was a older lady, and I remember she walked with a cane, but she would teach me the choreography during recess, and in return I would teach it to the choir. And by the time I got to middle school, I started choreographing for our show choir in middle school. And by the time I got to high school, me and two other girls, we were the choreographers for our show choir.
Wow, you just it feels to me like you were born with this language.
Yeah,
Like this whole kind of movement and sound language.
yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
I don't know any other like I love learning and I love but like music and dance and movement, it's always just been there. I probably used to get in trouble a lot, again, preacher's kid, but anytime music would come on, I would go to a floor and like start dancing. And I remember my mom be like, go get him off the floor now.
You were that kid. You were
I
that
was that
kid. Everybody's
I
like,
was
"Oh,
that
there he goes again."
right, here we go again.
Oh my gosh, that's so
I would
funny.
make up I would make up songs. You could say McDonald's. I was like, we're going to McDonald's. And they were like, shut up.
My God, I adore all of this. I think it's awesome. I mean, you're the kind of person that brings a spark to a room, you know? You walk in and you're like, "Yeah!" And everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I'm excited too." I think it's fantastic. Well, so talk about what happened from there and I don't think I realized until you just said it that you weren't on Broadway until MJ the Musical. Somehow I had in my head that you had been doing Broadway before then.
No, I've been in theater for like 20 years, which is wild to say. But I did musicals in high school, and then I went off to college and I was a religion and philosophy major. I was like, my dad is a preacher. I knew what I really went to school for. I was trying to get away so I could start exploring music, but I knew if I was going to go to college, it needed to be something that I thought everybody else needed me to do. So I went the religion and philosophy route. My last year in college, my financial aid and my grants and everything ran out. I had a semester to go. I was like, I cannot go back to South Bend. Like, there's no way that I can go back to South Bend. And I got online, and I don't even remember because, we were just starting the whole internet thing. This is 2004. Um,
Yeah,
I got
that's right.
online.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. And I saw this audition for Smokey Joe's Cafe at like Raleigh Little Theater because I went to school in Raleigh, North Carolina, college in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I saw this audition for Smokey Joe's. At that point in time, I had been in cheerleading. I was a varsity cheerleader for my
Mhm.
college, and I had started doing coaching all star cheerleading. So tumbling, all that kind of stuff was right up my alley at that point in time. I auditioned for the show, booked the show, did the show. It went amazing, and then that lady I did not know at the time She was Clay Aiken's voice teacher. Before,
Oh,
and
wow.
Clay
That's a
Aiken had just
connection. Holy smoke.
yeah, and Clay Aiken had just got off of American Idol, but
Right.
he had kind of been his voice teacher since he was a kid. And she was like, "You have this thing about you." And at the time, North Carolina Theater is a regional, or was, they just closed, which, oh my gosh. But they were a regional theater, so they hired Broadway stars to come in and do a show. But then they had the local talent make up the ensemble. She was like, "You should go and try." I was like, "No, these are New York people, the Broadway people. What are you talking about?" Um, but I went and I booked the show. And so my first show was Ragtime. My first equity show, like Broadway points and credits, even though
Wow.
it was a regional house, was Ragtime with these huge names like Norm Lewis and Julia Murney and Montego Glover. And oh, and Michael, which is the genie right now in Aladdin, has been for like the last like 5 or 6
Oh
years.
my
Um,
gosh.
these were the people I was doing the show with, but they were all New York people. I was still a North Carolina person. So that's kind of where it started. And
Wow.
I've been rocking and rolling ever since then.
It's so awesome, and I think it just the place I go is the magic of you may not always think you're in the right place at the right time, but the universe has plans.
Yes, I definitely believe that.
Yeah, so you were absolutely where you needed to be to meet those people, and then so was you said somebody involved there was with MJ? How did that leap happen?
So the MJ came so far. Like I've done so many things. I started songwriting for people. So I kind of dipped into the theater world, dipped out, but I moved to Charlotte. I did a lot of stuff with the Charlotte Children's Theater,
Oh,
all these things, and then I finally moved to Atlanta. And my little brother, my god brother, he would always be like, "You're the one that needs to be in New York." I dropped him off. We dropped him off at AMDA with the School of the Arts here for college, and he's been living here since 2009. But he was always like, "Bro, you are the one that needs to be up here." And I'm like, "Nah." Like I would come up here for auditions. I was like, "If I ever book anything, I'll come."
why? Why were you like what was the hesitation? What, you know?
You know what? Because there was a part of me that I Broadway was just one of the dreams. I really wanted to be this rock singer, and I wanted to put out music, so I just didn't know. There was because I didn't go to school for any of this. I was just doing the things while everybody else was like in
Right.
school or in the recording studio doing, like, they made solid plans. I just knew I could do all of it, and I just had to kind of go where it went. And so I just moved to the places where it allowed me to, and opportunities kept coming. And that's how I moved to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, I got an opportunity. We were laughing because me and my brother, when we were up here, I came up here to New York for an audition. It's one of the few auditions that we've ever done together. And we were standing in the middle of Times Square after, and you know, like the polar bears, the at the what is it, Coca Cola,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
we were looking up at one of the signs like that January. I think this was January 2012 or 13. And I said, "Oh, I think I'm going to move to New York, bro." And I looked up and I don't know, some just said, or maybe China. And 6 months later, I was leading a show in China that had nothing to do with that conversation I had with him. So I just kind of went with with wherever like the universe, God was taking
Because
me.
you were open
Uh,
to it. That's
yeah,
the whole, that's the whole thing is being open. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that's
And so,
incredible.
yeah, for a year, I did a show in China, in Beijing, and then after that, I finally said, "Okay, bro, I'm coming back. I'm moving to New York." And I was here for 2.5 years, and it just seemed like I was not booking anything. Like I booked a couple of regional things, and I was like, "How do you go from starring in this show in a whole nother country and then coming over here, coming back to your home, and not being able to book anything?" And I just remember one day I was like, "Forget it. I hate New York. I'm over it." And I moved out to LA. I was in LA. I told my best friend my boxes will be on your step. And I'll be there. It was on a Thursday. I said I'll be there by next Thursday. And I moved out to LA thinking I've done New York. I'm good. And I ended up 2 years. I ended up not doing anything. I went back to teaching class. I went back to personal training, all that kind of stuff. And then one day I woke up and I was like, I feel like it's time to get back to doing what I love. And within a matter of 6 days, I was playing Curtis in Dreamgirls out in a show out in LA. And after that is when the audition came for MJ. And I was like, this is stupid. Like, they're not doing a show about Michael Jackson. If they are, there's a million people in New York that I know that can do this. And here we are 6 years later.
Yeah, which, the through line in all of this is, and I realize some people don't subscribe to this notion, but the through line is be careful what you think, right?
Yeah.
Because the minute you thought, "Oh, I'm done with New York," you go out, but then you're like, "Oh, maybe I will do a thing," and the universe said, "Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. There are your things." I mean, do you notice
Well,
that in your life? Is that something?
I do. So however people believe, so I think the one thing about the being a religion philosophy major, what it taught me, it was like everywhere I've gone, I've gotten to study different religions and different faiths and different how people, and I'm like, we're all kind of connected. So I never pass, if somebody says a certain way, I'm like, oh, I get that. I don't call it that, but I understand that, like, or whatever. And so it opens my mind to just be, and so fate, the universe, God, however you want to put it. Um, my brother has always been the one. He was like, I'm scared of what you say because you say stuff without even thinking, and it comes to pass just like that. And that I'm
I love
learning that,
that.
and my parents have always been like, your power is in what you speak. It's in the power of the tongue. So be careful about what you say, good, bad, and indifferent, because it's coming. And
You never know.
and what I realized, yeah, I've realized that about my life, things that I really, really want. Um, or I say certain things and it just I'm like, oh, I okay, got it. So
See, and I love all of that. I hope one thing folks that are watching take away from this is that if you put it out there, you actually have a pretty good chance of going down that path. You just have to put the thing out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends, she gave me it's the one of those tidbit of those sayings that you're like, what? And then you take with me. It's one of those things that have stuck. Um I remember it was something I was trying to do. Oh, putting out music, which I'm finally about to put out, like my music. I used to be with a band and everybody. I'm finally, after 10 years, about to put out like my own stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I remember her saying to me one day, you have an iPhone, don't you? And I was like, yeah. She was like, how many updates do you get in a month throughout the year, such and such? I was like, I get them all the time. She was like, great. And she was like, and then new phones come out. And then she was like, but you've never stopped using your phone. I was like, yeah. She was like, just do it. And you can always update it later. It's not going to and you can come out with a revised. I was like, oh my gosh, that makes all the sense in the world. Like, just put the iPhone 16 out there and then the updates will come, the revisions will come, but I'm never going to stop using it at all.
It makes sense. So you just have to kind of go with it, do the thing. The thing it'll
Yeah,
take
we
care
can
of
update it later. We can make it shinier later. We can do all the things later.
Yeah, do the thing. I think that's a huge lesson that I've noticed over time people would really benefit from learning, which is doesn't matter if it's perfect, just do it. Do the thing you want to do and then yeah, iterations. Do it
Yeah.
again. Yeah, it's so good. So tell everybody about MJ, and I want to also share actually before we get to MJ, the show in China. I believe
Yeah.
this was it, right? Yeah. Tell everybody a little
Yes.
bit about what this was and your scene that you were in, and who are you?
So in the Chinese culture, their biggest hero, superhero, is called the Monkey King. And there are so many stories about the Monkey King. Every kid grows up knowing the Monkey King. And so in this version of the story, they invited this American playwright, this director, choreographer, to kind of do a Broadway version of a story, but because they don't do theater like we do, like nobody does theater like musicals like the US, this is our thing. So they're trying to kind of move into that. So they were looking for this Monkey King to be kind of funny, and because he does really have a playful side, but this he's a king that was born of rocks. So he's fully stoned. Um like there's so many people, other characters that he runs into along the way, and it's a like you have the comedic moments. I did not know Mandarin. But they what they do is that they put everything up on the side, so the translation's up on the side. So I did a lot of my jokes. I learned a lot of the jokes in Mandarin, which the crowd would go nuts. They were like, "There's this black man that is speaking,"
In Mandarin.
and that yeah, in Mandarin. And that was the other thing. Like, no, any movie that I've seen when I was over there, I watched so many movies about this. I try to read up on, but like, there's been no other color of or other person that's played it outside of an Asian person. I mean, it's their culture. And so here I am. I am now like this hip hop singing Monkey King that's brought this Broadway kind of kid, but also dances like Usher. That was exactly what they asked me for before I went over there. And so it was really, really cool. I mean, to be in a different country, I was only supposed to be there for 6 weeks and it ended up being a year.
Wow.
To have a whole show built around you was, and I could see again the universe saying it's coming over here, but I need to kind of prep you over here. So I get, and it also taught me how to lead a cast. I couldn't really speak to them all the time. They couldn't really speak to me. I did have a translator, but we found ways of communicating. I remember going with some of them and I went to some of their homes and their parents were teaching me how to make dumplings and all. It was just a very, very special experience that I will never, ever forget.
Wow. So the show was done in Mandarin mostly then?
So we did like this whole Manglish kind of. So
English. I
all
love
the
that.
right, all the all everybody else, because I was the only American. Everybody else was Asian. Um, so they spoke Mandarin. I spoke a lot in English, but a lot of my jokes, all my jokes and those things that were really, really important, I learned Mandarin for those things. And it worked. I was like, they are going to boot me out of this country, but the audiences, they they loved it.
Okay, you have to give us a joke in Mandarin.
Oh my gosh.
We want to know. Do you remember any of that? I know it's been
it's
a
just
long
like
time.
it was like
I'm
10 years
totally putting
ago.
you on the spot. Or
Uh
at least tell us in English the gist of what, like, do you
so
remember
there
any of
was
that?
I do. I mean, Washer Apollo Levine. That Washer is like my name is Apollo Levine.
Okay.
So I do remember that. Ni hao tai chunla, a ball chunla, which was I was calling one of the emperors that I met along the way. The guy that was supposed to be like my best friend in it, he's teaching me. He's the like a little sly cat. He's teaching me how to say you're a beautiful person, or I'm supposed to be saying you're a beautiful person, but he's
Right.
actually telling me how to say you're very, very ugly to the emperor
No.
because he's trying to set me up. Like the
It
yeah,
happens. It happens. That's so
yeah.
funny though. Oh my gosh. And what a challenge.
Oh my
What?
gosh, it was probably one of the hardest things to do and to make it come off. I think that's why the audiences loved it so much because they could tell that I was really, really working and trying not to butcher anything, and I really just wanted to like be there and be, and it was amazing. And some of the people I got to work with over there just
It's
yeah,
awesome. I mean, and the thing that made you different is the thing that made you crazy popular.
yeah,
And that's that's another lesson, folks.
yeah.
Like,
It was wild.
yeah, I think that's amazing. Well, shall I flip through your photo album and
Go
show
for
us some
it.
things? So I'm gonna put up. We're gonna just play. Tell me about this photo.
Okay,
We
so this is me. This is our first. I used to be with a band in Atlanta called Step Heavy. It's a rock band, and I was the lead singer. And this is part of our photo shoot from our first EP, our second EP that we put out. That was one of the things when I was younger. um, I knew I wanted to sing rock. I knew I was a gospel kid and I knew I could do
Right.
show, all that kind of stuff, but my heart was in rock. Like rock and country are two genres to me that you can talk about anything, and I love the storytelling. Rock was
Yeah.
just a lot more vibe. I love Tina Turner. I just went to the Lenny Kravitz concert. I lost my mind
I
because that
would
is the
love
person.
to see Lenny Kravitz. Oh my gosh.
He is the person that I kind of look up to. Like when I was in middle school, I kind of found out who he was,
Yeah.
um, and so that's when I got to Atlanta and I was doing the songwriting thing. I was songwriting for another production company. I was like, well, while I'm here, I need to see. And that's when we had MySpace, and I went on MySpace, and I found this band that was looking for a lead singer, because they had kind of been like a screamo band since then. Like the lead singer was like a rah rah rah, and they were like, we really kind of want, like we
Yeah.
want legit sound.
Yeah.
And I auditioned, and I was like, it was so much fun, but I was like, they'll go with somebody else. And they ended up calling me in 2 days and was like, hey, can you come back to rehearsal?
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it was awesome. And so it led me down this whole rock genre thing that I've been wanting to do since I probably was about 12 or 13.
So who are your idols? Obviously, you love Lenny Kravitz. You said that, and
Oh my gosh, Lenny
it's
Kravitz,
amazing.
again, Tina Turner, Living Color, Alice in Chains, Seven Dust, um, Pink, more on the pop side, Adam Lambert, Adam Levine, uh, Pink, U2, like it, like Coldplay, like you just Nickelback, you just keep naming them. I'm like,
Love all of that. Love all of
yeah,
that.
I'm a
If I
fan.
got to have like I don't really drink beer, but I'll say beer or wine with Lenny Kravitz, Pink. If Tina Turner were still around, I
Uh,
like yeah, all of those folks. Yes,
yeah,
please. Yeah.
yes, yes. I wish I could have met Tina Turner. She was like my intro to kind of all of this. But yeah, like that's just oh, my baby is trying to. He's like, get,
Oh my
he's like not.
gosh.
He's like, what are you doing, Dad?
Introduce your baby.
This this is Rockstar again.
Oh, hey, Rockstar. Hi. Sweet boy. Oh my gosh. I think I have. Let me see if I can find. Is this the one? Nope. Somewhere I have you. Dang, there's you. I have a picture of Rockstar
Yeah,
somewhere in this, and you're holding him. Oh my God, he's
yeah, and
beautiful.
he really is a rock star. He is like the neighbor. Everybody in the neighborhood knows him. If I ever like get to take him to the theater, or whatever, they're like, and people ask about him all the time. Where's Rockstar? How's Rockstar doing? He's a love bug. He's probably the best dog that I've ever.
Oh, how
Like
old is he?
he's about 19 months. Yeah, he's not
You're
even 2 years.
a baby. You're a
And
baby, Rockstar. Oh my God.
he's so sweet. And he's always like, especially when I get like on a phone call or whatever, he's like, if I don't understand why you're talking to somebody else and I'm not involved. So he's been sitting over here the whole time, and then he finally was just like, let me get a clap. So
He's an only child.
yeah.
I I get it. I get it. At this point, this is the moment where I will not admit that I'm an only child. I totally understand his behavior. Yeah, I get it. Completely get it. Well, so tell me about a little bit about MJ the musical itself. Now that we've gone through the timeline,
Yeah.
a little bit about that. And I want to see. I don't know if I have any MJ the musical pictures. I don't think I do. Where can people, for one, where can they go and like look at get tickets and then learn more about you as a cast member and all of that?
www.mjthemusical.com.
Okay.
But I mean, you put in MJ the Musical, things start popping up about everybody, everybody, the whole cast. It's been a great show to work on. We take a specific time of his life, right, without giving anything away. We are getting ready for the Dangerous tour. So we're in 1992.
Okay.
Um, and then we have these moments of flashback talking about his brothers and his dad and his family, how he got to Motown, with Barry Gordy, how he worked with Quincy Jones. But you hear, it's so funny because you hear, I was about to say you hear all of his hits, but you don't hear all of his hits. You hear a lot of his hits, but the man's catalog is so crazy that we couldn't fit all of that music in there.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
it's just,
gosh. You'd have to be
yeah,
an audience member in residence, right?
yeah, it's it's nuts. But I will say, so this is my fourth year. When I first started with the show, I'm even on the cast album. I played Quincy Jones and Tito Jackson,
Mhm.
which rest in peace to the both of them because we've just lost them over the last couple of months. Um, but I was understudying the Joe Jackson role, which is like the second lead of the show. Um, and so after my first year, I got the opportunity to transition into that role. So I've been in that role for the past 2 years, about to go into my third year. Um, but it's just been a great journey. I have learned so much because I didn't go to school for any of this. I'm very much and always have been like since I was a kid, I've always been like a hands-on person. And I'm just like, just throw me in, we'll figure it out. And
Yep.
that's what it's been. Like, though I've done all these years of theater and some TV things and whatever, there's nobody can prep you for being in a show year round, 8 shows a week, every week. Like it's insane a little bit.
I can't
And
imagine. It sounds
yeah,
insane.
2.5 hours of singing and dancing, just about every day. We get Monday off,
Okay.
and then we're there Tuesday through Sunday. But I'm glad for my first show on Broadway that it's something that I don't mind doing on a daily. There have been some shows that I've been like, "Oh, I can't wait for this contract to be up."
Yeah.
6 years in, about to be in my sixth year because of workshops and this going through the pandemic. We were still working through Zoom on on the script,
Yeah.
and then being on stage, going into our fourth year. So 6 years altogether. Even when I'm tired, it is one show that I have not gotten tired of doing. Like I may be tired. I mean, like, oh, I'm ready to go home. But the show itself, like when we're doing it, I'm having a blast doing it.
Uh,
Um,
that
yeah,
is
a lot because my cast members. I'm gonna put you down, but my cast members and the show itself. Like if you when you it's a spectacle, but in the best way possible.
love that. I love that. And it's amazing to hear how much passion you have for the show. Because
Yeah,
I know anybody in any job, people forget that entertainment is work, you know?
especially because like through my day, like I have to go to the gym. I have to go run my errands throughout the day and kind of prep myself, eat accordingly. All these things before while everybody else is like, oh, I'm done with my job. I've been doing that all day to try to get my energy, in the proper place so I'm not too hyped up or I'm not so sluggish to get to the theater,
Yeah.
do my show, and then I'm up until about 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm so wired from everything. So
You have
it's
to
a
bring
it's a
the
very
energy. Yeah.
yeah, you have to be built for it. Like nobody
You are.
and yeah,
Clearly,
yeah,
you
yeah.
are. Well, let me share some of your photos before we get out of here because I want you to share some more stuff. So I'm going to flip through some of these. Give us the quick rundown.
That was the step. That's my band, the band that I used to be with, Step Heavy in Atlanta.
Okay,
Yep.
that's Atlanta. What is
That
going on here? What exactly
that
is
is high
going on here?
school. Somebody just sent that to me. That was me in high school.
I love
I don't
this.
I don't ever remember being one. I don't ever remember not having a beard and and being that small. But that was me.
I love this. Oh my gosh. Okay, then the next one we have is you're belting it out here. You are like you're rocking
Yep.
it out.
That's me with Step Heavy, one of our live performances.
Love that. Um
That's my dressing room, and I'm my
at
boy
MJ?
Brent. Yep, that's my
How
dressing room.
cool. Okay, I have to ask because you sent us a photo with this background, and oh my god, that's one of our beanies. That's a WoolTribe beanie.
Yep.
Um, yeah. What is on the wall in the back? Is that sound dampening stuff? Just out of
No,
curiosity.
is a 3D tile that I found. It's called the website is Ivory, but IVORI.com.
That is
And
cool.
they do these really cool stick and peel 3D wall things. So you just they like I got all those squares and I just put them up on the wall.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not guess that I thought it was something like super technical.
Yeah.
Okay,
Still with
this,
Step. Yep. That was the
that's
inside of our CD
great.
cover when
I
we
love
still
that.
did CD.
And where can people, like, if they want to hear it, are you on Spotify or like,
Um,
how do people
I
get
believe
to
that
it?
Yeah, I believe that we're still on Spotify. Step Heavy, STEPP Heavy. So all one word, but two P's.
Okay.
But I think we're still on Spotify or YouTube. We haven't been together in like 14 years, so a lot of
But
that
people
stuff has
still
come.
can hear the music. They can probably
Oh
find
yeah,
it, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Again, is this step heavy again?
Yeah, that's me again. My in my Lenny Kravitz mode, like half naked and on a stage.
You know what? And what's not to love about that?
That's me in high school. I won prom king my senior
Oh
year.
my gosh, this is you as prom king.
Yep.
Wow, you look so studious. What is going on there?
Yeah, I've worn glasses since about the second grade. I am blind as a bat.
I'm right there with you. I have to say, in this picture, there is not a hint of the like outrageous rocker that you have grown into.
Yeah, that
Oh,
see.
speaking
Yeah.
of, there
Yep.
you go. Okay, what is JK? What is that?
I believe that was the photographer at the time.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, also it was that was in my be naked on stage era.
I love it.
Yep.
Step heavy.
Heavy.
And oh, and that's
Yep.
JK. Okay. And then for us, Brandon Whitmore, a friend of yours, did some amazing photography. I'll share a bit of that. Okay, this photo is incredible for very obvious reasons. Over your shoulder is what? Tell everybody.
The the Apollo Theater. So I live in Harlem, and I remember one of the first times coming to New York, going to the Apollo and saying, "I'm going to play there one day because my name is Apollo." And so when we were shooting that day we wanted to get some content over to you all. I was like, "Oh, I'm 20 blocks away from where I live. I'm like, I have to go shoot over there for all of the reasons. Harlem, the Apollo Theater, I'm
Yeah.
Apollo, WoolTribe. It just all kind of
Yes.
makes sense.
This photo is magical to me. I mean, just thinking about where you are and what you've done. And there's
Yeah.
another really cool one. I love that with the theater in the background. That's amazing.
And that's actually the hat I have on right now.
Oh, let's
Onion.
nope. No, not that. I'll find it. I will find it. That one. That's what you're wearing
Yep.
now.
Yep. That's what I'm wearing now.
Oh, cool. We actually dyed that one with onion skin, in case anybody's wondering. This must be in your dressing room.
In my dressing room.
That's just
That which is wild that I have my own dressing room in a Broadway house after all these years. It's still I don't take it for granted at all. It is still mind blowing and wild to me to be able to do this in front of you. We're I think we're at 1,180 something shows right now.
oh my
That's how
god.
many. And I've been there for most of them outside of taking a few vacations or whatever. Um, but to think that I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid, and here I am in a Broadway house, my own dressing room in front of 1,400 people nightly or whatever show, because sometimes we have matinees, is is insanely wild to me. And that's why I go out like after the show, and if anybody's standing out there to do autographs, I will meet, I will take a picture, I will do anything because it is my way of saying thank you to people that come of continuing to make my dream come true. I know people come to see the show and they're like, "Oh my gosh," and they're freaking out, but I'm like, this actually is my thank you to you for coming because I wouldn't have this job if you didn't buy the ticket.
It doesn't happen without an audience. I mean, really, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. I love it. And I love I've told you this before, but your generosity of spirit is one of the most uplifting things. I It's awesome. It really
Oh.
is. So if people go to see the show, go hang out outside and make sure Apollo's not on vacation that day.
that
So
that part, because I will say now that I've been like 3 years in, because the first year I was like I didn't take any of my vacation. I hardly took any time off, and now I'm like, whew, I'm tired. I'm taking my vacation now.
understandably, yeah, that's a lot of work. Of course, you're going to take a
Yeah,
vacation. You need to recharge.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see what else. I'll show a couple more. Okay.
One of
Okay,
our favorite
y'all.
pictures.
Y'all, this is one of our favorite pictures ever. We appreciate this very much because our tagline is "Lux for people who give a fuck," and so we really appreciate that you were willing to demonstrate that concept. So tell me about how that came about. The look on your face is hilarious.
You know what? When we were doing the photo shoot, I was like, well, because we had all talked,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, so I want to get like shots in New York, what I would do anyway. And I think people see me sometimes, um because because of how my parents raised me. Yes, I do pull up very good. Like I very
Hmm.
well, like I try to take care of business or whatever. But people have no idea that I'm a big kid. And I'm like, yo, let's have fun. And it shows, it shows us in New York. And I was like, well, I know the tagline. I was like, let's just do it. They may not even like this, but I was like, let's go. And it was like the one thing y'all were like, oh, this is our favorite picture. I was like, yes.
Yeah. I love it. Oh my gosh. Which that is the Monkey King. That's not it. This one. There we
Yeah,
go. So that happened on the same day.
yeah. We legit just put on, and we kept going back to my house. Um, and we were like, okay, for the next couple of days, we're in the theater, or when we're around, the city, we're just gonna shoot. We're gonna put on an outfit. We're gonna shoot. So a couple of those were taken the same day, and then over the course of like a week, I would put on an outfit that matched which I love because each hat gave me a different personality. Like, and I love that because I'm such a fashion kid. I'm like,
No, really? We love that about you. Love that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm such a fashion kid that I love when things can bring out another thing. Like, just because you saw me in a suit yesterday, and probably that suit is not going to look very like business. It's going to be a suit, like how I rock a suit. But after that, then the next day, maybe, some Timberlands and, a leather jacket. And I love being the different versions of myself in my clothes, in my wear. So yeah,
I
I
love
had fun.
it. Oh my gosh. This has truly been a joy. So thank you a ton for all of your time. Before we hop off, I want you to tell people uh, if people want to get a hold of you for bookings, how would they reach you? If they want to read about your bio, how would they do that? So give all the
Oh,
things that you want to give.
so only Apollo Levine on Instagram. You can find a lot of stuff, and my website is actually posted up there. I go through my production company because I have a production company now. It's called Freedom House Inc. So it's freedomhouseinc.com, and the ink is with a K.
Okay.
So like, but yeah, only Apollo Levine on Instagram, and that's really everything is only Apollo Levine on every platform that you could think of. So I'm kind of easy to find. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time. It's flown. Oh my gosh, it went quicker than I expected. It was so fun and so great to connect with you again. And we appreciate you.
Oh, I love y'all. I love y'all.
Well, we love you too. And we wish you every success. And folks, if you have not seen MJ the musical, make sure that you go see it. Do wait outside the stage door so that you can meet Apollo and get a signature. And we
And
wish
tell
you
me
all.
that you're part of the WoolTribe family. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Tell them that you saw this. So, and definitely, if you're watching this, please subscribe and take a look at wooltribe.co for the beanies and other accessories that our fabulous Apollo Levine has shared. So, thank you so much. Hopefully, I'll see you again soon.
Yes, yes.
Bye.
Bye.